Hello everybody. I've got a very important guest visiting at the moment, and we're both spending some time looking at AI. But I thought it would be good to sit down with this guest. I have Charles Peattie here of the Telegraph newspaper, who has done for the last 40 years the Alex cartoon strip. Whereas I usually depict the country, Charles is in charge of town, and together we make town and country. We cover the whole gamut, really, don't we?
Yeah, except I'll be sacked, of course, now.
Except you are taking a breather and
yeah.
looking into very exciting new prospects with things that could be possible now, really.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I thought it would be a good opportunity, really, for me to talk to you about when we first came into cartooning in the 80s, really. I mean, we both started together about 40 years ago, I would say.
Yeah, I think I turned pro in about 85 years earlier than I was.
But you kind of knew from very early on that you wanted to be a cartoonist, whereas I literally went pro the day I decided to become a cartoonist.
No, I didn't know I wanted to be a cartoonist. I think I always did cartoons. I did them at school, and I'd pin up my little efforts and put them in school magazines and that kind of thing.
Sorry about the dog.
But no, I thought I'd be doing something rather more important as an artist than being a cartoonist. But
You say that, but you know, prior to us, when we started in the 80s, cartoonists like Jack and Giles and people, they were important. They were the early influences, really. And
I mean, I'm not denigrating cartoons. I mean, I do actually think cartoon is a... Oh, he's actually trying to get me to shut up. But yeah, I mean, it was a very well paid job if you were a newspaper cartoonist.
Yeah,
in
I
those
mean,
days in the 60s.
treated as deities, really. I mean, didn't Jack have a suite at the Dorchester?
I think it was Giles who had
Oh,
the
Giles.
at the Dorchester, yeah. And I think Jack got given a Rolls Royce by somebody or other, and they did get.
I mean,
fantastic
imagine
parts.
us getting that treatment nowadays, but that was in the past.
No, I know, yeah. It'd be lovely.
But they were the early influences, really, and every family had a Giles annual, for example.
Yeah,
At Christmas,
yeah.
it was a thing.
I mean, it's kind of one of the things I used to read when I was a kid were the Giles annuals, and Giles and Ronald Searle's and Trinian's books.
Oh yes, I loved Nigel Molesworth. Do you remember the Molesworth
I
books?
read
Yeah,
those,
I used to love
at
those.
the right age, yeah.
But I found all those cartoons in the library at home. But then also later on, after I'd been a cartoonist for about 10 years, I found that my great-grandmother was also a cartoonist in the 1850s, around there to 70s. And remarkably similar subjects. I mean, obviously, she was going around with her husband shooting and stuff, and she was drawing all the beaters and stuff. So it's quite interesting.
Out of curiosity, Annie, where do your cartoon books get kept by people? Do they get
in the
kept?
loo?
Yeah,
In the loo. I'm
the loo,
queen of
isn't
the
it? Yeah.
English downstairs loo.
I think in the days when, like the glory days of cartooning, it was probably the coffee table in the sitting room at least. You know,
In the glory days, yes, but now...
bedside table.
And then when we came along, it was the cheap Christmas book,
Yes,
you know, all those
exactly.
paperbacks that people put in stockings, and then they became loo books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where they are now.
I mean, I do actually call myself the queen of the downstairs loo.
I was actually thinking of marketing for the Alex collection, a special bookshelf with all the Alex books on it, which would have a toilet roll holder.
Oh, what a great idea, yeah. No, see, look how we've fallen.
Yes.
But, you know, those when we started, we were well paid, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, well, I thought I was, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I was on the Mail and you were...
There's no point in kind of complaining about it, because it is really well paid for just doing little scribbles, you know, whatever, almost you get paid. But newspapers did have more money in those days, and they paid to keep their readers, whereas, they just don't make as much now because there's too much competition.
Well, in those days, a newspaper would be for a family. Okay, you know, the patriarchal society that we lived in, probably the man would read it first. But then there would be puzzles and things to do for the little wife, and there would be cartoons. And so everybody enjoyed the paper.
I mean, I think that was what was nice about... what was nice about newspapers and being a cartoonist in those days is that you actually... It was a multi-generational audience.
That's right,
addressing.
Whereas now, everybody in the family has their own niche and they go to YouTube for that.
Yeah, no, that's probably true.
So we've all gone into different rooms. We don't have the central thing of the newspaper. Even the television now.
Even the telly, right.
It's very rarely used by the young now.
Yeah. And what do they watch nowadays? Well, I mean, TikTok, stuff like that.
And everything's very fast nowadays, whereas... You know, what we do takes a long time. Yes, you could ask ChatGPT to create it in seconds, but it would never do what we do, which is to think laterally. It's a very logical machine.
Yeah, and it thinks in character, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've said it before, but it can make jokes, you know, the AI, but it can't make funny jokes.
Yeah.
Sort of just.
But it might randomly make a funny joke. But as I
With the kind of
have heard
9
you said,
million
you've 9 million others to look
Yeah,
through before
yeah.
you catch that funny
Yeah.
joke, and only you can say that one's the funny one.
I mean, I say that complacently, and there might be an absolutely brilliant AI
Yeah.
algorithm that comes up with fantastic jokes that has people rolling around tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
But I sort of doubt it, and it seems to find it more difficult to do drawn cartoons than to do photographic stuff.
Yeah, and also where you lose the human element between the style of the drawing and the idea,
Yeah.
I mean, the artist disappears. But that's what is special about what we do, is that connection between the felt thing.
Well, I think it's because with cartoons, you're not depicting everything. You're
No,
giving
you're
people
choosing.
you're giving people an outline of something, and then they fill it in themselves. They use
That's
their
right.
imagination. I
Yeah.
think. I mean,
Yes.
I've found quite often when I've done, especially when I've done cartoons for on stage, the less you show, the better in terms of, you know.
Like that thing about, you know, never joining the lineup completely, because then then your brain engages in making up the differences.
Having the faces in shadow, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that sort of thing. Yeah.
Anyway, very interesting. But we'll have more chats, but we'll do little sections, because otherwise, you know, everybody's only got a short attention span now.
They've probably switched off already.
They've probably switched off already. But anyway, thank you for joining me today, and we'll
you.
think of some subjects to talk about. Bye.